This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Man fatally shot after hitting police on the head. A man was fatally shot Monday afternoon after he reportedly used an object to hit a police officer on the head at the Rock River Primary School in Clarendon. His identity has not yet been released. The man, who is said to be a deportee, had apparently been disrupting operations at the school. The police were called and the man was asked to leave. However, he refused. He reportedly used an object to hit one of the officers on the head and was shot. He died on the scene. Police make arrest in Hanover cold case. After more than 2 years on the run, a Hanover man accused of wounding another during an altercation is to face court following his arrest and charged by the Lucy police. He is 35-year-old Simeon Powell of Bull Bay District, Lucy in Hanover. Reports are that about 3:30 p.m. on August 15, 2019, Powell had a dispute with his neighbor. It is alleged that after a verbal spat, he left and then returned and attacked the neighbor with a machete, severing 2 fingers. After diligent investigations by Lucy detectives, Powell was arrested on a warrant on Tuesday, September 6 this year, and later charged with wounding with intent. His court date is being finalized. Attackers kill man in front of cops. Fresh fears now exist in central Kingston following a daring attack in which masked men traveling on foot opened fire at a group of people, killing 1 man in full view of a team of police officers sitting in a service vehicle. The man killed in the Monday afternoon attack was still unidentified up to press time last night, while a second victim, also a male, remained hospitalized in critical condition. The incident, which occurred about 4 p.m. on James Street, has caused the residents to be cowering in fear, dreading another explosion of gang warfare between the 2 most notorious factions in the space, Dark Side and the Genocide. Residents are pointing fingers at the Dark Side faction after the latest shooting, which was reportedly captured on surveillance camera. Me think this did done. Me I said to somebody yesterday, say 3 to 4 weeks now, no shot, no fire, and everybody I hold them on. Me talk too soon. One female resident said minutes before news came that one of the victims had died. Residents expressed alarm that the presence of the police service vehicle that is always parked on James Street was no deterrent to the brazen criminals. The police them turn fool. The man them come out of the yard and shoot up the man and go up James Street. The police them a try to turn the car before them go on foot and challenge the man them. From the first 3 shot them fire, the police them see wagwan, a resident said. The news understands that the target of the attack, one half of a pair of twins, had just returned to the community after leaving for rural Jamaica when the war was raging. Him never did the year, and him just come back because the youth them a pre-different thing. Everything we go on the police them ever take set pan him, so him just breeze the place. As somebody call and say him dep on the lane, and now things are going to start again, another resident said. The residents said that they were no longer safe even in their yards, but the police are pointing out that the residents are not cooperating with investigators. One man at the scene complained of feeling ill and said he narrowly escaped the deadly assault after he left the gathering to get some home remedy. "I'm yard me a go and hear the whole heap of gunshot them and come look and see 2 men aground," he told the news. The Parade Garden section of central Kingston was declared a zone of special operations in January. Residents had been calling for the security measure to be extended to Rose Gardens, more popularly known as spoilers. The latest major crime statistics released by the police show that murders in the division had declined by 37% year-on-year. Up to September 17, the division recorded 33 homicides, or 19 fewer than the 52 persons killed in the corresponding period in 2021. Other major crimes such as shootings, injured persons, rape, and break-ins have also declined. Meanwhile, murders nationally have increased year-on-year by 8%, with 1,108 people killed up to Saturday, September 17. Police heighten presence in Spring Village following deadly shooting. The police have heightened their presence in Spring Village, St. Catherine, to prevent the reprisals following Sunday's attack at a football match. Gunmen opened fire on spectators, leaving 3 dead and 6 others injured. Senior Superintendent Christopher Phillips, head of the St. Catharines South Police Division, said that the area has been on the police radar as investigators realized some individuals residing in Spring Village may be connected to the recent flare-up of violence in Spanish Town.
We are going to continue to monitor the Spring Village area because we have been doing that. Very unfortunate because yesterday a team was just down the road in the Gutters area conducting a vehicular checkpoint. Spring Village has been an area of concern ever since we had that flare-up of violence within Spanish Town. We have been watching this area because we recognize that there are persons who are connected to the conflict there in Spanish Town who also lives in this area. Most of our senior investigators are on the ground. We have been engaging with the community from morning. Yesterday, over 300 persons were at this location enjoying a game of football. So we believe we have more than enough witnesses to give us some support with the investigation. Still early days. We still, trying to put the pieces together. The persons who are at the hospital, we're still giving those persons some time. 1 person has been released since. The numbers remain the same in terms of those who succumb to their injuries.
Deputy Superintendent of Police Paulette Baker, Territorial Officer at the St. Catharines South Division, said that the residents are traumatized.
It is a grave situation. I too, even though I'm a police officer, just being among the group and seeing them grieving, you feel it to the heart. And so I can imagine what those family members are going through. Some of them have underlying issues such as asthmatic condition, and as such would have been overwhelmed with the situation. One of the family members was taken to the hospital. Actually, the report from the doctor is that it's just panic attack. I mean, they take the situation so hard that it is impacting on their medical health.
Defense urges Sykes to take witnesses' testimony with a pack of salt. Defense lawyer Lyndon Wellesley on Monday accused the 2 main witnesses in the Klansman Wandon gang trial of swapping the truth to save themselves from prosecution. Addressing the court as defense lawyers maintained their attack on the witnesses' credibility during their closing addresses, Wellesley, who is representing defendants Ted Prince and Fabian Johnson, charged that the witnesses were unreliable and compromised. Is it not a fact that they have an interest to serve? The senior counsel asked. Not only that, they have substituted the truth for immunity from prosecution. The attorney submitted that the 2 main witnesses were aiming to give the prosecution a narrative that suits both of them. However, the 2 main witnesses, who are self-confessed members of the gang, have insisted throughout the trial that they did not step forward to save themselves. One of them told the court that the only benefit he would be reaping would be a spot in the graveyard. Only one had been charged, but Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey, the crime chief in the police force, has insisted that there was insufficient evidence to charge the other witness and that it was feared that if he was charged, he would not have testified. Wellesley was one of 5 lawyers who yesterday completed their closing arguments, thus wrapping up such submissions for the defense as the trial resumed before Chief Justice Brian Sykes after a 7-week break. Wellesley also accused the 1 witness of implicating defendants in crimes while they were behind the bars, noting that a line must be drawn between fact and fiction. During their no-case submission earlier, the defense had presented prison records which showed that 3 of the defendants were in jail during the periods in which they were accused of committing various crimes. At the same time, Wellesley submitted that the evidence presented against his client has not reached the threshold where the judge can be sure of a conviction. Take their evidence not with a grain of salt, but with a pack of salt, the attorney urged the judge. In their argument, the other attorneys also urged Sykes to find that both witnesses were unreliable and to reject their evidence as unsafe. They also contended that the Crown did not present independent evidence to corroborate the witnesses' claims and has failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendants were guilty of the respective charges. Alexander Shaw, who is representing defendant Andrew Goulding, reminded the court that one of the witnesses had misidentified his client and later testified that he really did not know him, and questioned the certainty of the witness when he testified that he saw his client at a particular crime scene. He also asked the judge not to place any weight on the secretly recorded conversations between members of the alleged gang, including his client Stephanie Cole Christie. Shaw argued that the conversation occurred after the gang had split and that the conversation that took place was not in relation to the persons who are charged. While brushing aside the shocking details of the conversation, the attorney said the recording simply showed the bad behavior of the persons involved. He also asked the judge to accept that Cole Christie was not a member of the gang and was simply a close friend of the alleged gang leader, Andre Blackman Bryan. Chief Justice Sykes adjourned the trial until November 1, when he will start his summation. He explained that he had several engagements for October, which would hinder the steady progression of the trial. Additionally, he said that the break would afford the investigator sufficient time to obtain proof of death of one of the defendants, which is needed for the record. The victim, Andre Smith, was gunned down on August 11 while on his way from work on Hagley Park Road in the corporate area. 27 defendants now remain on trial under the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organizations Act and the Firearms Act. Initially, 33 defendants were indicted, but 5 were freed. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.